Go.
Welcome to the newest edition of the Huddle House. I'm Matthew. Ty's actually not with us this week. Instead, I'm joined by Mr. Jacob Metry and Mr. Carter Taylor. Carter, I think you have a new last name now because you have a new father.
Yeah, fuck you.
I need to know your dad's email and so I can send him a heartfelt message that there's a new man now has custody of you. And
viewers, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for any authentic language that comes out of my mouth today. But Barnes, I wish I had the lack of dignity to pull up my balls and put it on my camera right now. I would love nothing more than to do that.
He's got a lot of nerve for somebody who is 4-7.
Hey, Barnes' team's been hot though. I'll give him that. That's the nicest thing I'll say about him all night.
His team is definitely on the rise.
I had to do it, man. I mean, 51 points. Like, I'll admit it was a bad start to the season, but this is also the guy before the season even started, before the draft, was saying that I was going to get smacked by him during the season. So this was not a Jake level of rivalry, but this was a matchup I really wanted to win. And so to be able to play spoiler on Carter and, make his playoff chances a little bit more unlikely was a lot of fun. Not going to lie. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, well, you had 3 guys in the negatives, and then you got Jonathan Taylor's just goated.
How many did he
go for 51?
51 fantasy points.
Oh, dude.
All right, listen to how
he raw dogged my butthole, dude.
Look, before we even get into what the Huddle House, the Huddle Buddies League, can we all just take a moment to just acknowledge that in my other league, I put up 158 points this week, and I lost. Because Justin Herbert's bomb to Mike Williams at the end of the game just screwed me up.
That sounds like Jeremy McCleary. It sounds like a Jeremy performance.
I mean, I had Eckler who went off for 41, and Chubb, and Kirk Cousins. It was just, don't even.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's tough. Well, Brandon, last week he lost putting up 131, and this week he put up 125. And depending on how Brady plays in an hour, he could potentially lose that. So that's 2 weeks in a row where he might put up 125 plus and lose.
I think Brady's going dumb though.
Yeah, all Jake needs is like 24 combined points or whatever from Brady and Graham Gano. I think that's pretty likely.
You mean your twin?
But it's going to be interesting. But I think one thing I kind of wanted to do tonight, we could talk about our teams a little bit, but I also wanted to maybe do some trade grades. Like kind of talk about the trades that have happened recently, maybe some of the notable ones this season, and some of our trades, and look back at them and just kind of give a grade on how well we think they've aged.
Excellent idea, Barnes.
Thank you.
Excellent.
It was also an excellent idea for me to start Wayne Gallman. If I didn't freaking do that, I think I would have beat you by more this week. Oh, this is a fun episode.
Yeah.
So he's going to win with a negative points from you.
No, negative 0.3 from Gallman, negative 1 from Chase McLaughlin, the kicker, and then negative 2 for my defense. And I still somehow won with 7 players.
I think Jonathan Taylor is your father, Barnes. Truly.
He can have my children, or I'll have his.
Nah, he's not. I'm not gonna say that.
I love me some Jonathan Taylor, man. I bet Ty's not that Dalvin's been horrible, but Ty's probably looking back at the startup missed out. That was rough. He'd be the 101 right now in redraft.
My offer still stands with my next 8 third-rounders for Jonathan Taylor.
Oh yeah.
Really?
That's my final.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna beat Lucas's offer. Lucas texted me and he made me a really good offer. He said that he'll give me his future firstborn child, wife, and mother. I said add yourself to the mix, and I'm like,
mother. That's funny.
And then
Barnes, I will give you Zeke, Damian Harris, future 3 first, and a little bit of my girth. You can use some of that.
I've had some good offers for him, but I'm just glad I didn't take any of them. Like, I could have been sitting on Eckler in 2 firsts. I could have been sitting on Zeke in 2 firsts. Like, not terrible offers, but I'm very much glad I did not accept those because Jonathan Taylor's just a different breed. He has it all. And everyone's talking about that, which was great. I mean, great. Obviously, 51 points. But Darnell Mooney balled out. Jalen Waddle balled out. DJ Moore got a touchdown. Like, I mean, I won with 7 players, so the other 6 had to ball out too. So, I mean, it was overall just a good week.
Barnes.
What?
Fuck you.
Oh, dude, I will say the last night you scared the living bejesus out of me during Sunday
Dude,
night.
I was so anxious. I couldn't even watch the game.
No,
I was like sitting here watching an episode of Stranger Things. I'm paying attention. I'm like, oh my gosh, like Steelers just scored like 37 and they get the ball back. I'm like, dude, Deontay, I'm down 0.58. Deontay,
Yeah,
I need a catch. And I win. What happens?
Matt,
Big Ben gets sacked twice and
Matt,
I lose.
Would you have been upset if you would have lost yesterday? Like with Jonathan Taylor getting you 50.
Yeah, I would have been very upset. Not that it really matters at all. I know all my point is this season is just to play spoiler, but I still care a lot. I mean, I'm really competitive, so I really wanted that win. So to have a 51 bomb and still lose, I would have been fuming. I would have been like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I mean, that's 4 points less than my entire team put up week 2.
Yeah.
By one player.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable.
Well, Jonathan Taylor, he had 35. And I was like, there's still a chance I can win. I mean, like, he's going dumb. But then he just kept scoring. I'm like, why are they leaving him in? They're up 20. Take him out.
Frank Reich said like 4 days ago in an interview they wanted to get JT even more touches. And I was like, I texted Marcus and was like, we'll see what he means by that. If it means like Henry level, then like I don't know if I even want that because I want him to have longevity. But I'm okay with a few more touches, you know. They give him 32, and normally they give him like 20. So like Frank Reich completely was not like calling BS there. Like he actually legitimately did it. He was like, we're just gonna bell cow him. Hines barely saw the field. So it was the JT show. And the man's averaging like 6 yards a carry this season. So I mean that's freaking ridiculous.
I hope he rots in fantasy hell.
I will say though, we've all hit on one pick that, like, I mean, granted, mine was like a first rounder, so it wasn't like a guy that everyone else was sleeping on. But you hit on Debo, and Metry, you hit on Cup. So those are guys that were a little bit more like mid to late rounds that you guys just somehow fell upon. That was very convenient.
I took Debo in like the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah, you took him.
I took Cooper Kupp in the 5th round, and honestly, whenever on draft night after I had him and Thielen sitting there, I was like, I think my receiving core sucks. Like, I mean, I know I shirted up with the backfield stuff with Montgomery, Jacobs, and Chubb, but I was not too high on my wide receiver room at all, and he has proven me wrong from week 1. So,
yeah, he's insane. He's absolutely insane. But yeah, it was a fun week. Well, for the most of us. Metry, you got yourself a win.
Yeah, unless Mike Evans and Chris Godwin go for 70 combined.
Yeah, I mean that's
no shot.
Not gonna happen.
I'm not gonna say it's no shot, but you know,
it's no shot.
I'm liking my chances.
You know how many touchdowns Brady would have to throw, and we're cheering against Brady right now because of Jake.
Yeah, no one wants Jake to win.
I do want to talk about the trade that I made with Jake and get your all's opinions on that.
Oh, the Kareem.
Yeah.
Give us the details. Give me the details.
We had explored it a little bit earlier last week. You know, I just kind of was like, in my mind, I'm like, look, Melvin, he's been pretty good for me since I got him, but there's no way, the writing is on the wall. He's not going to get the bulk of the carries very much longer in that offense. And I wanted to dump him now while his value was still kind of high. So I reached out to Jake, you know, because I'm really getting the nice vibe that he's going for a senior citizen team. I just was like, you know, Kareem Hunt was the one that came to my mind because I was like, you know, when Chubb's not in the game, or like I feel like Chubb, gets a lot of his carries taken from Kareem, or like at least a lot of the pass catching situations taken from Kareem. And so I'm like, well, what if there's a way to kind of put both of them together? And he came back with Gallup and Melvin for Kareem, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, Metry. I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that you won that deal.
Yeah.
Just saying. Jake's made some very questionable moves these past 2 weeks. Given he traded, what did he give up? Terrace Marshall and a first.
No, you're talking about Jake. Jake
Yeah,
made that trade. Yeah, you
yeah.
said
Wait,
you
what?
said Jake Bryson. Jake was the one that made the
Oh,
Marshall.
I thought I said Jake. Sorry.
You're good.
So it was Terrace Marshall in a first for Mike Williams in a third.
Yeah.
Given Mike Williams went he had a pretty nice game last night.
Well, I mean, it was mostly all that one play. I think before that he only had like 6. So I mean, it wasn't like he was doing anything crazy.
But man, dude, Jake, it seems like he's got a plan, but he is sacrificing a lot of his future to win this year.
I respect that he at least owned it in the chat and was like, I'm all in, and like just pretty much straight up like showed his hand
but
like trying to win this year. But like this is dynasty, like this isn't redraft. Like you're going all in for 1 year, but you want to have a team that has some longevity. Like, I mean, he's got a lot of question marks surrounding his roster next year because you don't know if Brady. I mean, I assume Brady will be back, but you can't guarantee that. Melvin's out of Denver. Who knows where the heck he goes or if he even has a role. I mean, he's got a lot. I mean, who knows what Robert Woods' situation will be. I mean, coming off the ACL tear, he's got a lot of question marks. I mean, his only young talent is Javonte Williams and DK Metcalf. Everything else.
Robert Woods, I think his value just goes down because I mean he's 29 right now, and you got Van Jefferson. He looks like a really good player. And he'll probably be the second option next year, and then I don't know if they keep Odell. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I mean, I think Robert Woods could get traded after this year.
Might.
But Jake could be selling him for the pennies on the dollar because I think everybody knows that his situation. He's older. He's coming off an ACL tear, competitive receiving core. Like Jake's not going to get the value for him that he would have, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I don't know. He might just hold him and hope that he has a year or 2 left where he can sell high. But we'll see. I'm curious what you guys think like the back end of the playoff picture is going to be because I think the locks are Jake, Brandon, Metry. You're looking not necessarily a lock, but pretty close to it. And then the rest is like James should be in there. So that, I mean, most likely. So it looks like Ty, Austin, and Carter. Looks like you guys are kind of fighting for those last 2. Curious how you feel about getting in one of those.
So I'm on a 3-game skid right now. I've been pretty unfortunate the past few weeks, especially this week. But I mean, we've already talked about that. But going back to trades, I had a recent trade with Jeremy this week. I think it was actually yesterday. I saw the performance Wentz put up, and actually Jonathan Taylor scoring 51 kind of propelled me to do this trade. It was Carson Wentz, Myles Gaskin. This year, my second-round pick this year for Matt Stafford and Jeremy's second-round pick next year. And I've had some really bad QB play, really bad to average QB play all year, and it's really a need that I wanted to address before the trade deadline. And I think Stafford, he's played well. He's played at MVP level all year. So, and he's like a short-term guy the next few years until Deshaun, he gets his situation settled and he can come back and be my star.
Yeah, I actually liked that trade for you quite a bit, actually, Carter. Getting a QB is important. I've kind of suffered from it as well this year. I know what it's like to just kind of be getting average to below average QB plays. I mean, it's really why Metry, gave up so much to get Dak. I mean, it's pretty it's pretty obvious that getting a good QB is important. And I don't really think you overpaid. I think Carson Wentz is pretty uninspiring. Like, he's going to have some good weeks, but he's a really low ceiling and just kind of an average floor. Definitely shifting to be such a run-heavy offense that I don't really see him getting that many passing touchdowns. And then Gaskin, I mean, he's been pretty good recently, but I think it was a sell high moment for you because you never know with the Dolphins where they're going to go with their backfield in the future. So I don't think they've really committed to him. And then I think there's a good chance that your second this year is a worse pick than what Jeremy's second will be next year and what's supposed to be a better draft class next year. So I liked it. I thought it was good.
Appreciate it.
What are your thoughts on his trade, Metry?
I think that, it was kind of reminded me of a lot of our trade, Matt, with, my team starting out in the year had been just – put up a lot of points, was in, competitive in every game, and then just quarterback play. I had Matt Ryan starting out. He sucked really bad.
He still sucks.
Yeah. And I remember I was talking to Marcus a lot about it, back when that was all going on, and he was just like, talk to Matt about getting Dak. And, Justin Fields, he came out there in his first start, and I was like, oof. It didn't look good at all.
Not at all.
So I sold him still while I could, but I actually liked your trade, Carter. I think you were just the bearer of bad news this week, or else you'd be – what's your record now, 6-5?
5, yeah. I'll be 6-5.
You're a career day out of Jonathan Taylor from being 7-4 right in the thick of the playoff hunt. So I actually like your deal a lot. So – yeah.
Shirt up the one hole you had. Well, you had 2 holes, and you shirted them both up in the last week or so. You got Kittle. That's a little bit more stable tight end spot. So you're patching up the holes to get ready for the playoff push. I think the playoffs are going to be wild. I'm excited for them, even though
I need to beat Marcus next week to kind of ensure that playoff spot.
Yeah.
I think 7 wins is kind of like the –
I played Jeremy next week.
Milestone.
I'll feel real confident next week if I can beat Jeremy and get to that 8-4, kind of double up my record, my losses a little bit. I think if I beat him, it's looking very likely that I'll get in. I think now it's just the point of where does I'm now looking at it from seeding perspective, who am I going to end up potentially playing in the first round? Because it's kind of that gap that was Jake at the top, and then there's a couple game difference, and then everybody else, it's gotten smaller and smaller as the years went on. So,
yeah,
who knows where this thing could end up finishing out. So,
I'm even though I'm not going to be in the playoffs, most likely, unless I won out somehow, then I might have a shot at 7-7. But I'm not going to win out. I don't know if you guys saw the message, but week 14, I don't have Jonathan Taylor or Hines, who are probably going to be my running backs the next 3 weeks. So I'm going to have to start Samaje Perine and Wayne Gallman as my running backs against Jeremy. So that's an L. That's an L.
That's ass.
Yeah.
That's the deal for Josh Jacobs.
That's a pair of cheeks right there.
I'm just I'm not going to get any real assets for this season whenever I'm pretty much out of it anyway. There's no point, I'll give up thirds, I'll give up fab, I'll give up bench pieces I don't care about, but I'm not giving up anything meaningful just to try to get a decent running back for the next 3 weeks. There's just no point. So I'm just gonna live with it because this season's basically over for me. But I have a lot of stake in the playoffs because I have to root for Metry because the better he does, the worse his pick ends up being, and that pick goes to Ty, which I got Mooney for. And so
I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought you were gonna end up talking about the second rounder that you gave me. I wish that you would lose out. Because if you go 7-7, that is the only sliver of me getting maybe a decent player out of this.
You can get
second round. But if you end up going 7-7,
Malik Cunningham. You can pick him up.
Yeah, I might end up getting Josh Ali from Kentucky. My God, we're just I'm so disinterested in this rookie draft coming up. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
I think the closer we get, the more interested we will be. Because it is important.
You don't have a pick either, do you? At least not a first rounder.
Yeah, I do. I have Ty's pick.
Oh, you're right. You do have Ty's
from
pick.
the Devontae trade.
I forgot about
So
that. Okay.
Ty's looking good. Me and him, I think he's about to be 6-5 this week. After this week,
Yeah.
so man, dude, it's
Matt,
tough.
If you want to, so we already know you're losing week 14. Who do you play next week, Matt?
Lucas.
I'll send you $5 if you want to just like dump that game and give him a win.
I should have never thrown in the second rounder in the first place. That was me.
Definitely
I've gotten smarter as the season gone on, but
I 100%
that was dumb on my end.
without the second rounder.
That's what I'm saying. That's like the biggest thing I regret, or one of the biggest this whole year, was throwing in that second rounder because you were 100% doing that deal without it. I think in my mind, I was worried that you were on the edge and that you were teetering. And I was like, if I don't throw in something else, he won't do it. And I had gotten to the point where I wanted to do it. And so I threw it in there to sweeten it on my end, but you were 100% accepting it anyway. I gave you that for free.
But Matt, are you sure that that's the worst thing that you?
No, the Odell trade was worse.
Yeah, there it is.
That was worse. So yeah, we don't have a ton of time. Maybe like 15 minutes. But let's just do
Odell for Melvin Gordon.
yeah, Odell for Melvin. No, and AJ Green, who's been.
So I basically turned Odell into Kareem Hunt, pretty much.
That's like, dude. That's like.
It was bad. I mean, it was so early in the season. That was
that's like trading a stiff dick for a ticket to the movies.
Whenever I made the trade, like half the people in the league were acting like I killed it. They were like, "Great trade." Everyone talked about it on the Huddle House, like you did really good. And I was like, I felt great about it. I didn't know Odell was gonna literally fall off a cliff.
Yeah, Odell is doing his best Juju Smith-Schuster impression right now.
Yeah,
fucking nothing.
I think he's doing worse.
Fucking nothing. No, Juju didn't literally had two weeks wherever he started and didn't put up points.
So I'll give that trade an F. Okay, I'll acknowledge it. But I think we also need to acknowledge that Carter's Juju for Hollywood Brown trade is about an F minus.
Okay. So Deontay went down that week. He went down with injury, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a no-brainer. Juju's gonna get all the targets." Next week, 2. I'm like, "Oh no." Hollywood puts up 29. I'm like, dude, golly.
Or then you gave away James Robinson for Gaskin. That one's not too bad, but it still wasn't great.
Okay, Matt. Okay, Gaskin's been productive.
No, I'm talking about in hindsight. I'm not talking about. It was awful for several weeks, but you just turned Gaskin essentially into Stafford. So like I'm saying, in hindsight, you salvaged your losses, but you definitely lost that trade.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In the moment, I'm just saying you made it more manageable.
It was more of like a long-term thing because I was like, Travis Etienne's coming back next year, but James has looked good. James Robinson, he's looked good. I'm like, there's like I told James this. I was like, dude, there's no way Travis like steals his carries. There's no way.
Unless they're just idiots.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their coaching staff hasn't looked the best so far. So.
What would you guys say is your favorite trade you've done this whole season? If you had to say.
Oh, that's tough. I would not say the Devontae trade. I would not say that one, even though I was kind of I was pretty satisfied with that.
I know mine because it's really, really lopsided. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
I mean that I really couldn't like when I put up Odell and you hit me up about that, like, hey, I'll give you a splitting carries running back and a receiver for Odell. I was like, yeah, all right, that's fine. You know,
I figured I was giving you like 1-year rental pieces, and my season was already looking really grim at that point. So I was like, might as well at least try to get a decent receiver that is going to be an upgrade over AJ Green. At least I thought, but AJ Green's better than Odell is. That was bad. I mean, that was an F on my end. I hated it. I would say mine. Wait, what you got yours?
Yeah, it's kind of one that kind of went overlooked. But this guy's not even on my roster anymore. You actually have him, Barnes, but it's when I traded Tyler Higbee to Marcus for Dalton Schultz in a second.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you did well there because Higbee has barely been anything.
But other than that, I'd probably say our trade with Kittle. I
Okay.
do like that, even though I haven't won a game since that trade happened.
Well,
But
there's only been one game. I
I
mean,
know.
but I do
fucking
think it was
fucking
funny though.
JT.
DJ put up like 7 or less, like 6 straight games before you do that trade, and then the first game he's on a different team, he puts up like 15. I was just like,
Dude, yeah, dude.
just
That
tough luck.
showed the veiny cock in a poop shooter.
I would say my favorite though is still the trade where I traded away Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Chenault, and Gabe Davis for CeeDee Lamb, J.K. Dobbins, and a first. Just getting back in the first round, getting probably a top 4 or 5 dynasty receiver in CeeDee Lamb, and getting a running back that I have the utmost faith in for next year. I still think just puts me in such a good spot. That's been my favorite.
I love that trade from you.
Yeah, I thought I did so well. I mean, it wasn't like a bad trade for Brandon. I completely do understand why he did it. It puts him going from just being an outside contender to like a legitimate favorite or one of the favorites this year. So it definitely transformed things for him. And Diggs has been good since I traded him, but I still think CD is what Diggs is basically, but 7 years younger. So I think it's an upgrade. So I'm super hyped about that one. Do you have a least favorite trade, Metry?
I mean, I could say that my least favorite trade has been our Waddle Fields first round for Dak. Even though Dak has been great, and I've only lost one game since I got him. I mean, Waddle looks better and better every week. And when I drafted him, I was like, he was going to be my young receiver, kind of going into the, kind of leading my team as we got deeper into this dynasty league. But I mean, I can't really complain because I also didn't expect Cooper Kupp to be this good, and so I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one, looking back at it, I don't think really either of us lost it bad. I mean, like I would regret it a lot more if Waddle didn't look this amazing. I mean, and then Fields been promising. I mean, he's had some really horrible games, but he's had some really good ones. So I still feel semi-confident in him. And then Mooney, I mean, I ended up taking Beasley in that first to get Mooney, I think everyone kind of acted like that was just egregious when I did it. But I was just a believer in the guy. And, I mean, he's looked like the dude, like really since I traded for him. For the most part, he's been getting 8 to 15 almost every game. This week he got me 20. Gets a crazy good target share, and that pick is probably gonna, if you keep winning, Metry's probably gonna end up being like pick 12 or 13. Probably a guy like, I don't know, like Kenny Pickett or George Pickens. Like, is that really a guy I'd rather have than Darnell Mooney? Like, probably not. So I think I got a pretty good haul for Dak. I don't really regret it that much. The thing I regret is throwing in the second round pick. That was stupid.
Yeah, which I need you to lose out.
What do you guys think about the trade that happened the other day with James and Caleb? Caleb gets into the trade mix, trades for Claypool and was it Claypool in a second?
It's Claypool in the first.
Oh, Claypool in a first for
Tyler Lockett in a second.
Yeah.
For who in a second?
Tyler Lockett.
James got Lockett to try to,
win it.
Dude.
I actually think Caleb won that trade.
Yeah, I think so too, dude.
I'm
I think
in the same boat.
Lockett underperforms second half of the season every year.
I mean,
Lockett is like the definition of boomer or bust.
We'll see that, but like Lockett is a clear, and you could say the same about Claypool, but Lockett is a clear number 2 on that team. Like, he is never going to have the same amount of target share as DK, I don't think.
But like the thing is, they're two different. Like they get utilized differently on each team. Like the Seahawks, like that's Russ's guy. He's like kind of like the safety blanket, He gets most of the reception. He gets like more receptions than DK. Whenever he does have a good game, like DK will have pull out like a 5 reception, 125 yards and a touchdown, while Lockett can put up like 8 catches whenever. But Chase Claypool, he's the ultimate home run hitter. Like he doesn't get anything.
Yeah. I like Lockett more than Claypool in the short term, but you got to think they're already kind of similar players, like number 2 options, boomer busts, kind of like that type. But Claypool's 6-7 years younger, and Caleb upgraded rounds. Like, if you'd offer me Lockett for Claypool straight up with the identity of my team kind of going more for youth, I would take Claypool for Lockett straight up. So the fact that Caleb also upgraded rounds, like, you also got to think that Russell Wilson he almost left the Seattle whenever they had a 4-loss season. Now they're going to be last in the division and have 8 or 9 losses at least this season. Like, there's always the potential that Russ wants out. And if that happens, then what happens with Lockett? So, whereas I know that Pittsburgh's quarterback situation isn't clear either, but I don't see that getting any worse than what it is at the moment. Whereas I can definitely see Seattle's getting worse. So I think if anything, Claypool's situation gets better in the future. Lockett's might get worse. So I liked it for Caleb.
Yeah.
Great analysis, Barnes.
Yeah, definitely think Caleb won that deal for sure.
It was just interesting to finally see Caleb make a move, though, because I think we might have all experienced hitting him up at some point for a trade and just not gotten 0 responses.
Yeah. In the words of Sam Roberts, there's no point in playing fantasy if you ain't going to trade. Says the guy who has not. I'm in another league with Sam, and he has not looked at his roster all season.
Are you serious?
That sounds like Sam.
Come on, Sam.
Metry, do the best Sam impersonation.
No, I'm not.
About the Bengals winning against the Raiders. Come on.
No, I'm not. I'm not, because I was actually really, really ticked that we lost yesterday. I was so mad. Like, oh my God, Derek Carr sucks. I can't say what I think that our offense plays like, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Dude, this video is going to have 7 views on YouTube.
Yeah, it's not like it's gonna change the world.
Yeah, hopefully.
No, I just, I'm
hopefully a future employer doesn't go digging into my past YouTube videos made and just happens to stumble upon this one, because then I'm not getting that job. I'm not teaching those kids, man.
I mean, in all reality, we all probably have so many pictures and videos and stuff.
Oh yeah, just look at. I hope they never look at my avatar on a sleeper.
Oh yeah.
It's whipped cream, Jacob.
All I have to do is just look.
What is this?
Funko Pop.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Oh,
that was awesome. I remember you texted me. You were like, "Should I put this as my profile picture?" I'm like, "Hell yes,
dude!" Because I feel like it was the only thing that ever just epitomized what. Because there's people in the league that obviously know what Yathan means, but that's the only thing that epitomizes.
Yeah, Lucas is nut.
Hey, if they see my profile picture on Sleeper, I might have a better chance of getting hired.
No.
Young Hoku.
Yeah. You just got to listen to Mac Jones. It says.
Yeah, Mac Jones shirtless.
Oh yeah, take it from the Mac. Oh no.
Wow. It's been a fun season.
Oh yeah, Matt. Guess what happened Saturday?
What?
We spread Louisville's cheeks and absolutely go to Pound Town.
Yeah.
Oh, what happens this Saturday? Oh yeah, that's gonna happen. We're somehow 2-point favorites. Have you guys seen that?
Have you seen the way that we play defense? Barnes, you get out there, play better defense in our corners. And I've seen you play intramural football.
Dude, you're
this year
cheese too. It's gonna the final score is gonna be first to reach 45 might have a shot.
Barnes,
I think we covered the spread. I mean, I think we win. I just don't think it's going to be a blowout like it's been in past years.
Yeah. I think we covered too.
Oh yeah. In order to cover the spread, you just have to win the game. And it's
all you got to do is kick a field goal, and we covered the spread.
Yeah, win the game is Louisville football. We've blown 4 fourth-quarter leads this year. It wouldn't surprise me if we get up to a decent start and then find a way to screw it up like we always do. I will say we'll score some points. I mean, Louisville will score some points. It ain't going to be like previous.
Especially on our defense.
Yeah, it ain't going to be like previous.
Defense is cheeks.
48-14. Like, it's not going to be like that. It'll be pretty high scoring. But you guys are probably going to average like 15 yards a carry. It's going to be bad. But that's completely off topic.
Yeah.
Y'all are going to Jonathan Taylor.
No.
We're going to rush for 3 miles against y'all.
Our defensive line is like a freaking sack of beans, dude. Like, they're freaking useless.
The sack of cocks. That's what it is.
Our corners aren't great either, but they're at least like okay. But
Sorry,
the line is just atrocious.
Okay.
No.
Our quarterback's not very good. We only throw to one receiver. Sorry.
Wandale gets like 15
So
targets a game.
Wandale is what I wish Darren Waller would have target share-wise. I know Darren Waller gets a lot of targets. I wish he got Wandale's targets.
Wandale is about to have the best season in UK receiver history.
And he has
Just-
1,003 yards. That just shows you how bad our football program is.
We still got 2 games to play. We got the Louisville game and then the bowl game. So,
All right, I'll ask one last question. So, Carter, outside of Debo, who I guess has kind of been your most surprising player, who's your favorite player on your team? Or if it's not Debo in the first place, then just correct me.
Debo is definitely my favorite. Other than him, gosh, towards like the first 4 weeks, it was DJ more. But obviously, you have him now. That's a tough one, man. I would probably say Zeke this year. Even he got hurt yesterday. That's another thing why I didn't win. It's because he got hurt, and then Tony Pollard
So
stole a
does
lot of his.
CeeDee Lamb, in my defense.
Oh
Put up
yeah,
a
but still,
2.9
still Barnes, fuck you.
bomb.
Yeah, I would say Zeke, probably, and then I do like Deontay a lot. So that's my top 3.
Okay. What about you, Jacob? I know Cup's probably your number one, or maybe not. But what's your top 3, I guess, for your team?
Cup 100% is number 1. Number 2, just got him on my team, Darren Waller. Love him. Absolutely needed to have him. Number 3, honestly, it's because he's proven so many people wrong whenever I bring him up in trade talks. Adam Thielen. Everybody's like, oh, he's old. He sucks. He's, Justin Jefferson. If he's going to be the clear number 2 behind Justin Jefferson and get 8 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown, keep being the number 2. That's fine. That's all I needed to do. So, yeah, probably Adam Thielen is my 3rd. Or Chubb.
Okay. That's fair. My top 3 is, obviously number 1 is Jonathan Taylor. Number 2, CeeDee Lamb still. And then number 3, I'd probably go Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
I like DJ a lot too, but it's been 1 week, and
What about J.K. Dobbins next year?
Oh, well, yeah, then it will be J.K., but I can't really pick him whenever he hasn't done anything for me this year. He'll jump up whenever he gets a touchdown every game like he did last year. Yeah. He had a touchdown in 7 straight games to close out the season last year. He was pretty freaking good.
How much time we got?
I talked 38 seconds. I talked to my cousin who's actually an orthopedic surgeon yesterday. He knows all about, this type of stuff. And I was like, ACL tear for my fantasy player. How well will he recover? And he was like, he'll be fine. He had a whole year. He'll be good. And I was like, that's all the assurance I need. He'll be back to normal. But all right, guys. Well, it was fun talking to you, Carter. I hope
you better put a warning on this YouTube
I hope your
video.
dreams are without Jonathan Taylor this week. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys later.
See y'all.
Adios.
Peace.